Welcome back, viewers. It's your half-assed reporter, the guy on the bike, James Kalm. And we're coming to you from the bottom of the Lower East Side on Oliver Street. Special shout out to our friends in North Wales, Holland, the Netherlands, Spain, Central Oregon, and the old fart in freezing Minnesota. We're gonna run to Marinaro and check out a painting show. Stay tuned. We're gonna look at an exhibition of paintings by Lindsay Burke titled "A Shift in the House." So I'm just glancing at my iPhone list, and they're saying that all these paintings are acrylic on canvas. It's titled "The Speed of the Universe 2021. This is 50 by 40. Well, I'll read a little bit of the press release. In a new body of work, Burke presents a series of paintings in which the house is more than just a functional structure. It is, in Burke's universe, a surrogate for the mind and body, offering a way to visualize the drama of living in the world itself. Okay. Well, I kind of glanced through the front window and was thinking that this did have a kind of a relationship to some of the transcendental mystical painters, perhaps. I think there was a lady, Eleanor Pelton, who was part of the New Mexico transcendental painters that has kind of been rediscovered recently. She had a one-person show at the Whitney. Unfortunately, it was right in the middle of the lockdown, so very few people saw it. This is titled "Eukaryotic Self-Sabotage 2021. Direction, something like that. And I was thinking that there's been kind of a resurgence of interest in, I guess, what you could call abstract symbolism, or even maybe mystical abstraction. I think Lindsay is kind of playing a ironic, kind of humorous game with some of these. This is a well-worn Loop 2021, or acrylic on canvas, 50 by 40. And I was kind of looking at some of the details in here and thinking about the imagery in relationship to some of the mystical painters, say someone like a Hilma af Klint or Alfred Jensen, or even this lady Pelton. And one of the things that a lot of them share is the basic geometric forms. It's almost like the tantric drawing. So we've got a circle, maybe a triangle in there. There was geometry. I think Lindsay is kind of making fun of this. I noticed that a couple of these have got like pictures of drains or something you might see in your bathroom. Small arrangement 2021. It's 10 by 8, acrylic and colored pencil on canvas. So we've got some goofy legs sort of sticking out there. They could be the hands of a strange clock. This is circling the drain. So I was just washing some dishes before I came in, and I've got a little drain basket that looks just like that. I think Lindsay's got some interesting technical things she's doing. Kind of the cutting a stencil and then putting a kind of a glazing, brushy glaze over the top, kind of distinguishing her various planes with different kinds of treatment. And there is an overall kind of a toned down palette. Oh, and then she's thrown in some hyperrealism. I think these two might be some of the more interesting pieces because they're more abstract. You can't really read the figurative parts of these so easily. This is filter function. So I was talking about the way that Lindsay uses different surface treatments to kind of create other planes of perception. Also, she's got different ways of approaching the representational or the diagrammatic aspect of things. This is titled Late Night Brilliance 2021. This is 22.5 by 21.25. Acrylic and dry media on canvas, and I guess the dry media might be colored pencils. Kind of like this one because she's got some bolder contrasts, and well, it kind of looks like a fake face or an emoji. But it still kind of stays mysterious. This is titled New Site, 60 by 50. So I was talking about her using various representational techniques. So we've got this stuff over here, which looks like samples of marble or some kind of Formica tabletop things you might have. She's got her little terracotta colored bricks, her geometry. Kind of maybe emoji mysticism here, and then we've got a couple of like diagrams of earth screws, something. Maybe this is how you would reinforce the foundation of a retainer wall, but very competently painted in there, and it really does kind of float on a different level of the perception. Okay, well, we're going to go down in the basement. Okay, let's start out looking at the painting. Titled Boil Before the Burst. 20 by 22. And yeah, so we've got our little household quotidian objects like a clock. Maybe there's some eggs being boiled. And then we've got something that looks almost like a profile of a face. Okay. This is titled Small Arrangement, 2021, 12 by 9. Acrylic and dry media on canvas. Kind of like the grid layout here. Got our little geometricized, it's an orchid and a petunia maybe. Okay, these basements on the Lower East Side are pretty interesting. Input-output 2020. This is 20 1/4 by 22 1/2. I actually prefer some of Lindsay's work that she's using the dark backgrounds. I like the strong contrast, and it's maybe the way it simplifies the composition, makes your central image bolder. And again, this is acrylic and dry media on canvas. Well, we'll just run down this wall of drawings. And they're all watercolor, acrylic, and colored pencil. 5.5 by 4.5 inches. Okay, they're nice. They're about the size of a little Polaroid photograph, maybe. And yeah, again, I kind of like the richer, stronger contrasts in the background. Okay, I like this one because it's kind of out of square. It's always a good sign for me. The other thing I was thinking is that Lindsay does have kind of a vocabulary of forms I was talking about relating to some of the mystical painters. She's also got some things that she's using from the biomorphic artists, kind of the late surrealists. And then she throws in some patterns. Okay, yeah. Nice. Oh, I like this. Lindsay's got a delicate hand. All right, let's go back upstairs. So this has been Lindsay Burke, a shift in the house at Marinaro. I'm gonna roll on. Well, we're going to continue our Lower East Side sojourn. I have to apologize. I haven't been out much the last couple of weeks. Partially it's because of the lockdown, but also it's been snowing like heck. We did the outside art fair and we got about 14 or 15 inches that day. As soon as that started to melt off, we had another storm with another 8 inches, and that started to melt off, and then it started to freeze again, and we had another 5 or 6 inches on top of that. So I don't like to ride my bike when it's too slippery. Well, we're gonna pop into Lyles King. And see a show by Chris Dorland titled New Day. Oh, I like this piece. It's like a Lawrence Weiner piece. Well, I started seeing some of Chris's activities a couple of years ago, and he's also done some curating and spends a lot of time at Magenta Plains, one of the hot galleries a little farther north of here. Lyles King is pleased to present New Day, a solo exhibition of new works by Chris Dorland. New Day consists of a suite of large paintings on linen and 2 hyper-real, data-driven video works. This is the artist's second show at the gallery. The exhibition title references the inherent contradiction in technology's relentless optimism and fetishism for progress. While appearing optimistic, New Day also leaves open the possibilities for what is unknown. Start our little glimpse here looking at this piece. This is Untitled Global Entry 2020, acrylic polymer pigment ink gesso UV coating on linen, 68 by 46. And while they talk about Chris working for the last 10 years in the space between painting and new media, so I guess what it looks like to me is that I was kind of working on these canvases. He's laying down his textural things. You can see the comb marks, the brush marks, smushing of the, I guess that would be the gesso. And then he's printing on top of that, and maybe then painting on top of that as well. This is Untitled, Instinct Mode 2020, acrylic polymer, pigment ink, gesso, UV coating on linen. Actually, some interesting things. One of the things that Chris likes is the kind of the overdone pixelated internet media stuff that just kind of gets squished out over the edges, and in a lot of ways it's kind of the equivalent of Jackson Pollock, except this is the drips and splatters and pores of high-tech computer virtual world. Also, yeah, I don't know how much he's able to control a lot of this, but there's some kind of nice color things happening, and I like the contrast. Let's look at one of his videos. This is untitled, Species 2. This is a minute 40-second loop, edition of 3, 2020. I don't know how many of you people watch Netflix, but I think I spent about 3 or 4 weeks watching a German series called The Dark, and there was some kind of massive bad thing that was floating around that kind of looked like that. And I was just going to compliment Lyles King. I actually have a piece of paper that I can look at. I don't have to spend all my time diddling with the phone. It's untitled, Bleeding Edge 2020. Well, there are a few other artists that we've covered in the last couple of years that are kind of working in a similar technique. Maybe not as far as where they get their content, but using a lot of large digital printers to create the initial image. And I think the whole has probably 3 or 4 people that they work with. Okay, so I like the way that Chris has kind of let the digital print be worn through. There are holes in this, so maybe there's a little membrane of digital printing on there that he glues on top of the linen. Also, kind of find it ironic that people that are working with extremely highly mediated processes also go out of their way to accentuate the fact that they're using very traditional materials. We're using linen, could be some kind of polyester, but they prefer the traditional thing. They're kind of making sure that you can see the touch of the hand, the smushiness. And I guess in a certain way, it's just a resistance to the machine. I think this is probably the largest piece in the show. I got a double panel here. This is untitled 2020 Leviathan 2. This is 63 by 92. Well, I wonder if Chris is referencing the extraordinarily influential philosophical text by Thomas Hobbes titled Leviathan. Okay, yeah. Actually, there are some interesting kind of color things that are happening. And as I was saying, I don't know how much of this is just the static, the overflow from the virtual world, the kind of the scraps that are floating around out there, and how much of this he can control. Yeah, I like the torn poster or something there that he's ripped off. Untitled Broken Star, 68 by 48. So there are kind of interesting things going on here with various levels. So you have an image that you get from somewhere on the internet that's an image of a brush stroke or maybe a graffiti tag, and then you reproduce that, stick it into a painting, and then you paint over the top of that, and well, you're kind of piercing through one level of one plane of consciousness or graphic being into another plane. I like the way this stripes of green kind of fades into the black. Some of this has a real interesting reflective quality as well. I don't know whether you'll catch any of that in the video. Bit Crusher 2020, 68 by 46. So I wonder what these actually are screen grabs from. Opacity 100% with, maybe goes in and he's got some very articulate versions of some kind of print shop, maybe? Yeah. Maybe this is printers' programs. Be a lot of that floating around. Got some pixelated digital images. Something there. Also, this one is more reduced. Like black and white with a few color tones in there. Let's check out the back room. So this is the last one of Chris's pieces here, untitled Breach 2020. I think this might have the most color. One of the things that I'm always skeptical about digital printing or any other kind of printing is that you don't really have the body color, so you kind of have to be dealing with layers of transparency. Although I like this. Mimical Fusard, okay. Monday, 8:02. This is James Kalm reporting on Chris Dorland, new day here at Lyles King. You can like this, share, link it to all your social media sites, and you can subscribe. And you can leave your thoughts, ideas, comments, criticisms, and reviews below. I just ask you to say thank you, Kate. Thank you. Thank you.